Hello guys, welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, I'm gonna show you how the CT defense on Overpass actually works. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. By the way, we are doing free giveaways every month. In these giveaways, you can win various CS2 skins and free CS2 course access passes created by a Faceit level 10 coach who has experience in high tier CS2 teams. To sign up, simply visit the CS2 Pulse giveaway page and follow the instructions. Link is in the description. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. On CS2 CT side Overpass, there's a total of 5 spawns. This is the first spawn, this is the second spawn, this is the third spawn, this is the fourth spawn, and this is the fifth spawn. Overpass doesn't really have any specific spawns that give you certain advantages because there aren't really many instant duels that you can fight for to gain an instant control advantage, because most of the time, no matter from which spawn you go, you will instantly have the control over connector, and you will instantly also have the control of Faceit's monster. The only spawn that could be useful to you is going to be the short spawn if you try to push water. However, nowadays it's very risky unless you are doing an eco round. But I'm not going to get too detailed about this topic. So mainly there are no spawns that you can really have any advantages of in the start of the round on CT. So let's break down what all the 5 players need to do in the start of the round. Firstly, let's begin about the split. Usually the split is like this. One player plays towards heaven and plays on the rotation. One player needs to hold monster. One player needs to hold short. One player needs to stay in toilets and hold fountain or balloons and not give up toilet control by holding long as well from time to time. And one of the players needs to hold the connector control. So let's begin by talking about Faceit. So let's begin by talking about the monster player. He's gonna quickly run throughout heaven and he's gonna instantly drop down towards this area, and once he does, he's gonna instantly run forward and position himself in rather 2 positions. These are gonna be the best positions that a monster player can play in. So the first one is gonna be barrels. In this position you should definitely save up a smoke just in case, because if you get mollied, for example, from water, then you won't have any counters if you don't have a smoke, because for example, if a T decides to throw this lineup to throw and molly off barrels, then you will instantly need a smoke to cover it off and run back safely. That's why you should definitely save it up. And another benefit of this position is that you don't have to smoke monster, because you're just gonna jump spot, or rather stay in this corner, and once you spot any enemies you quickly crouch and throw a nade like so to deal effective damage to the monster players like so. Or instead, if you're not playing barrels, then you can play closer towards monster against this plank. Before you reach this plank, then you should stop, because this is the best position since you won't get flashed from any enemies if they throw a quick pop out flash for their teammates above monster. You will not get blinded because this flash will instantly pass you, and it might slightly blind you, but it will never full blind you since you're very close to the monster, and this wall is covering a lot of flashes that the T's love to throw. And even if they throw a low flash for you to peek out for their teammates, as you see, this line doesn't cover it fully, so you will not get blinded fully. You might get slightly blinded, but you will definitely not be full blinded. And in this position you can play a very good round with your teammate, who is going to be the short player. The short player is going to be just simply holding short, or rather pushing it. As I mentioned, it's really up to you, but in the start of the round he needs to quickly run here, stop here, and throw a molotov to molly off the water like so, so you can prevent pushes instantly or just deal some extra damage if you want. This player can play in several other positions. For example, he can play based off which position his teammate is playing. If your teammate is playing in barrels, then your short player can be playing behind this plank and just quickly peeking short from time to time, and he can also stay here. His teammate can assist him by just throwing a simple pop out flash, so his teammate can instantly peek out and clear monster entirely. You can also split up in another way. This player can be the short player and he can be holding short from this position, while your teammate is the monster player and holding this position like so. And if he gets a kill or gets spotted and wants to drop down, he can instantly do that by dropping down towards water, and then he can throw an instant nade to deal some effective damage to the enemies. The short player can also play towards water. He can just hold this position like so, and he can assist his teammate if he's playing towards barrels. And also in the start of the round, if the enemy T's don't molly short, you can stand in this corner and try to get an off angle and quickly get an entry kill. But keep in mind, this is a very risky play, so you can only do it once or twice every game, because then the T's will definitely expect you if you continue doing it oftenly. And if you want another off angle position, you can stand on top of this gate and position yourself against this ventilator, and then run, you can just stand in this corner and hold an off angle for any Ts who decide to push out monster. However, this position is very open and you definitely might get blinded, so use this position only if you're prepared and you're playing an off angle. You can also play behind this pillar, but it's a very risky position because you will have to manage both of the positions, and if you get pressured from one, then you will definitely need to clear short and run back. So it's very risky because you might have to manage both angles at the same time. But if you want another good off angle position, then you can definitely use this one. Now let's move on towards the third player. This is gonna be the Heaven player, and he's gonna be the most crucial player out of all of 5 of these players because he's gonna be throwing an insta smoke in the start of the round by crouching against this trash can, aiming in the top left corner of the wire, and just simply jump throwing to throw an instant smoke that bounces off and smokes monster instantly before the T's manage to push out, and the smoke covers the entirety of monsters, so your monster player can instantly have a safe defense and he doesn't have to use his own smoke, so he can save it for later. And this player is also very good for playing with the AWP because he's going to be holding this position from Heaven, and it's going to be a very long range position, so he can just simply assist his teammates by holding short, by holding this area of monster when the T's entry out, and he can also get a free tag if he stands close to the edge of this wall and holds this position of door, and if the T's decide to open this door, he can aim directly here and deal significant damage to them if he spots them, or he can ask for his teammate, for example the short player, to quickly break the door, and then he can see the entirety of this position and he can call for info, for example. And not only that, this player is crucial because he's gonna be the one who's always gonna rotate around the site. He can instantly and quickly rotate around the map. He can be holding long, he can be jump spotting towards banana and toilets, and he can just be simply jump spotting towards long. And with the AWP especially, he can hold a lot of long range positions. His main priority is going to be long range positions because he's going to be holding the positions. If your teammates die, for example in banana, or they lose control of middle, then you can rotate and instantly position yourself in a way so you can help out your teammates. And as this player, make sure to not go further than the A site or the Heaven site if you don't know where the execute is gonna happen, because if you drop down from Heaven, then it will take a really long time for you to rotate, and same goes for here. If you decide to push more towards the bathrooms, then it will become really difficult for you to rotate, and same goes for long. If you decide to somehow push long for some reason, then it also will be very risky and you will lose a lot of time rotating. That's why I suggest playing around this area of A and also staying in Heaven if you're playing in B. So now let's begin by talking about the A side player, aka the toilets player. This player is going to be instantly in the start of the round throwing a quick Molotov by positioning himself in the left corner close to this ventilator, and then he's going to look in the top right corner, and then he's going to just not move his crosshair and run straight, and make sure that after you hit the middle of this bench, then you instantly jump throw. So the lineup looks like this. You position yourself in this corner, quickly run. After you pass the middle of the bench, you jump throw, and the Molotov lands in towards this area, blocking off the T's when they start to push out this area towards balloons. After throwing the Molotov, this player is going to instantly throw a smoke that bounces off this wall, and then he's going to jump up this bench like so, and then he's going to stand rather in this position and try to play aggressive. However, as I mentioned in previous videos, this position oftenly gets mollied or naded, so keep in mind for that if you're gonna play aggressive, because you might get dealt a significant amount of utility damage. So I suggest playing a bit more passively most likely, but if you want to risk it, sometimes you can definitely do this play. Instead, you can play passive as I mentioned. After throwing the smoke, you can run back and position yourself in several positions. My personal favorite is this corner, simply because you can hold the cross from any players who jump down from balloons or are just simply running in towards the banana trying to take the control. And another benefit of this position is that it's way closer than the opposite side, for example, to seeing long, because in this stack you're not going to be playing towards long. One of you is going to be holding toilets, and he's going to also micromanage long from time to time, and your teammate is going to be the one who's going to be playing in connector. So this player mainly needs to focus towards toilets control, banana control, and long control. This player can play in several positions. For example, he can play in this corner, but he can also play in divider if he wants, if he has an op, which is a very good weapon for this player because he can hold several angles. He can hold this angle from a further range, he can also manage the corner of this entry from fountain, and he can also watch it from the opposite side of divider. And if you don't smoke this area in the start of the round, you can also position yourself in this corner and hold this cross from fountain to get an easy entry kill, because most likely the T's love to push this position and peek out. After you get a single kill, then you can use your smoke to throw it off like so, and then you can fake that you're running back towards toilets, or you can just focus towards long at that time, and you can also just commit towards the smoke and go back and rotate through toilets towards this area of divider, for example. You can do a lot of plays here with the op, which is very good because this area doesn't seem to be a very long range position. However, it is, and mainly because you're also going to be checking long, because if you're standing in this corner, as I said, you can peek long and quickly clear it like so. When it comes to the connector player, he's just going to be simply running straight towards this area. He can also be the player who smokes this area. However, in my opinion and from my personal experience, this isn't worth it because the connector player usually needs a smoke for himself, because most likely the T's love to throw that Molotov that I've showed in previous videos just to prevent the CTs from pushing, and mainly because you can also throw a smoke behind this wall against it to smoke up the entire area of connector, so the T's can't really push out and don't have any info over the door. That means that the short players, if they take water control for example, they can also help out their teammates by just quickly peeking out, and they have a free rotation around the map. The connector player can play in several positions. He can play in this corner, for example, jumping up on top of this cart, and he can play in this corner. He can also play in this corner of stairs, and after he gets 1 or 2 kills, he can instantly crouch to have some cover. However, if you get pushed, then it becomes really difficult because the T's instantly pre-fire your position. But you can also play on top of this area, which is my personal favorite position, because after you get a single kill, you can walk up the stairs and also assist your teammate. However, make sure that you're not standing too high up, because the balloon players might spot you if you are, like so. And if you want, you can also jump up this area where the boxes are, and you can also have an off angle, and you can also stand in this corner so you don't get spotted by any T's who are pushing towards connector. However, they might spot your foot, so be careful for that. But if you stand in this corner, most likely they won't. They definitely might miss you, and you can be holding balloons and assisting your teammate. And the most important thing is, if your teammate loses banana control for example, then you have to be one of the players who is going to be assisting your teammate, trying to fight and trying to catch people on timing. Make sure you see a lot of these positions and clear them fully before you peek out wide towards banana, because these positions are really commonly camped from T sides, from T players, because they can just crouch and camp in these corners like so, and then uncrouch and try to catch you off guard like so. And another benefit of this player is that in the start of the round, if he quickly smokes up and his teammates from short say that there's a lot of people in short and they're trying to take water control, then you can instantly peek out through the door and catch a lot of T's on timing. If you smoke this area of con and you want a quick flash to flash into short while you're peeking, you need to position yourself in this corner and then look in this area around here and then left click throw to bounce it, the flash off against this window on connector, and then instantly peek out. This is a really good pop out flash that a lot of pros use when they peek out, so I definitely recommend you use it since it's very effective, very quick, and you're very close to the door. Thank you everyone for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. This was how the CT defense on Overpass works. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and comment down in the comments below on what you want us to do next, and I'll see you in the next video.